Okay. Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to our SNAP press conference. This SNAP press conference regarding the SNAP elections in Azerbaijan, and we're happy for you join to our small but important event. First of all, I would like to introduce my colleague and friend and ally, Mr. Arif Mammadov, former ambassador of Azerbaijan in Strasbourg and in Brussels. And since from 2015, Arif Mammadov fight with us for human rights and democracy in Azerbaijan. And right now, we just try to explain what's happening in our country and which kind of support and understanding we need from EU and European institutions, where we say we spoke regarding the Azerbaijani community, which don't have his voices. I want to also introduce myself. My name is Emin Husseinov. I'm exile-based human rights activist. I'm living in Geneva since from 2015, and I'm continued work and help to my colleagues and to my people, which is still a very difficult situation in our country. We decided to explain very briefly, each of us for 5-7 minutes, short presentations, and right now I want to give the floor to Mr. Arif Mammadov. He explained your situation with democracy issues in Azerbaijan, and later I attend a couple of points regarding the fundamental human rights. And later we start interactive section. We have a live stream. We are recorded only us, and that's why just we try to inform you for everything what we're talking here, because it's not only from European community, it's also from Azerbaijani community. We have a live stream which is broadcasted by Brussels Press Club, by our couple of national platforms, and our colleagues from Pakistani media, which is based also here, and we are open from all questions. Thanks again, and Arif, floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much for joining our event. In fact, we are sorry for very short notice. I know that we just published it yesterday, and thank you for having time to come in very short notice. Briefly, in February we just knew in the morning, all the country, that President made the decree, announced the decree of holding elections, presidential elections, 6 months ahead of the scheduled time. I'm sure that not only Azerbaijani public in general, our society, but even many ministers, parliament members were caught unaware of this decision. Probably just he woke up in the morning and announced this decree. There was no any previous discussions or information about why or there is need for such an election, so that it was a completely shocking message for the society. Before that, you know that in general situation the country was very sad. There are more than 160 political prisoners in the country, including very well known like Ilgar Mammadov. There are other political activists, journalists like Mehman Husseinov. All deputies of the chairman of the Popular Front, Ali Kerimli, are under arrest. It is like 160. It is bigger than in any other country. I know that what was the pressure on Belarus when there were only 5 political prisoners, but we have many times more than in Belarus, and we see quite a tolerant approach of the European Union and Europe in general towards what's happening in the country. All major opposition parties boycotted elections. The first was immediately Milli Shura and Popular Front declared that these elections are illegal and they boycotted. A few days later, Musavat Party and Real Movement have also announced their decision to boycott elections. Even some of them, they said that even if we would like to participate, it wouldn't be possible to do it, because in 2 months to collect 40,000 signatures or to have campaign in such a restricted environment was not possible. So even if someone would like to participate from opposition, it wouldn't be possible. Government almost appointed opponents of Ilham Aliyev. These are fake opposition who would never criticize the government or president. I don't know what they will talk about. Access to the media is completely restricted. There were even opposition newspapers. They were first shut down, and then their internet sites have been blocked within the country. The wave of repression went from opposition inside the country. Now there is a hunt of people outside of the country who dare to criticize the regime. You know that famous kidnapping of the journalist Afgan Mukhtarli from another country, from Georgia. He was kidnapped in the car, and it is registered in the cameras, and Georgian security ministry and Georgian officials recognize that Azerbaijani journalist was kidnapped from the territory of another country. And do you know what he is accused of, Afgan Mukhtarli? For illegally crossing the border. So he is kidnapped from Georgia, illegally crossed the border in the Azeri, I don't know, security minister car, whatever, and he's charged in illegal crossing of the border. It is itself a very ridiculous accusation. There is another journalist, Fikret Huseynov, who has Dutch citizenship, and he's now detained in Ukraine on the request of the Azerbaijani government, and he cannot leave Ukraine for already almost the 2nd month, and Azeri government tries to extradite him to the country, and probably thanks to the efforts of the Dutch government, he's still in Ukraine, but he cannot go back to Netherlands because of this completely ridiculous accusation. Prosecutor General Office sent a photo of him with Saakashvili, telling that he was plotting in Ukraine against the Ukrainian government with Saakashvili. So kind of ridiculous, completely ridiculous accusation. As I said, that the civil society is completely destroyed in the country. All the NGOs are just chased away. Those who are inside the country are in prison. Those who not in prison are refugees in different countries, like Emin himself. He was a director of the important institute. Now, you had like 50 people working. Now he's political dissident living in Switzerland. But before letting him to flee the country, he was deprived of the Azerbaijani nationality. he forced to sign a letter saying that to let him go out of the country. So the situation is completely deplorable. We, of course, we want from the world community, particularly from the European Union, to do more about Azerbaijan, at least to press or to ask the government to do some reforms or to liberate political prisoners. As I say, that there are people who are accused and completely ridiculous. People on just going to the region to see the situation on another city is like you are planning coup d'état. Like Ilgar Mammadov was arrested. He was just few hours in the Ismaili city, which there were some people went out to the streets to protest against social rights, and he was arrested, and he's already 6 years in the prison. And he was director of the School of Political Studies of the Council of Europe. So that I think that the Council of Europe bears some kind of the responsibility for him, because he's not just leader of the Real movement, but he's also director of the political school of the Council of Europe. We have heard lots of scandals around Azerbaijan, money laundering. You don't see any report on money laundering without Azerbaijan being on the first line. So any Laundromat or Panama Papers, Azerbaijan is always the first. On corruptions in the European institutions, there is also the first country which comes, it is Azerbaijan. We have seen career diplomacy scandal, which is still damaging the image of the Council of Europe. There is independent commission set up within the Council of Europe, and I hope that for the next session of the PACE, this report will be ready, and there will be more names which will come on surface. But unfortunately, small country like Azerbaijan managed to damage the image of one of the oldest European human rights institutions like the Council of Europe. The scandal is continuing. Now, these snap elections. Why there are many questions. Why President decided to hold this election? The only explanation is that because of the number of important events in the country, like Formula One, or some conferences, like cultural events, there was taken decision to hold the election 6 months in advance, and not giving even. You can have changed the time of the election, but not announce it just 2 months before that. It was also in itself the way that was done, it was very ugly. Why decision? Because many people question, and Azerbaijani society discusses why president has taken this decision to hold these snap elections. First reason is deep social economic problem. Economy is in deplorable situation. National currency fell at least twice. Banking sector is completely in complete problem. Almost half of the banks have been shut down. The prices are going up. Salaries are, pensions. Even pensions, government cannot manage to pay the pensions in time. Nevertheless, the pensions are now the lowest in the region. We were proud some time before that we had the highest living standards in the South Caucasus. Now we have the lowest, the worst situation, social situation among all the countries of the South Caucasus. And the first reason, people say that President understands that by the scheduled elections in October, situation would be much worse than it is now, and because situation goes from bad to worse every day, and social discontent of people is growing also quite significantly. We see in the regions people speak more and more openly about social problems. As I said, the pensions, there are even electricity, gas supplies are a problem even in significant part of the city of Baku. Only in the central areas there is stable supply of gas, but in the regions there is problem. So we are going to be savior of Europe for gas supplies, but we cannot supply gas to the population even in the capital. And when European politicians say about Azerbaijan being the guarantor of the energy security of Europe, it seems a little bit too exaggerated. We see that the new exploration of the new fields have been stopped. Many oil gas companies left the country, and the output of both gas and oil have reduced considerably, because we see